Hello and welcome back, all my Dragon Ball theorists. Whether you watch the promotional animes or not, I like to give it credit as the video games have always spun off some of the most interesting ideas. Sure, it's packed with fan service, transformations, wild power scaling, and fights between characters that we would never see in the anime. However, overall, it has given us some concepts that we really want to see as fans. From demon arcs in a time patrol to hearts and a universal seed, these storylines could be developed into some awesome full anime arcs if they wanted to in Super. With his transformation of hearts merging with the universal seed's power, he has now claimed to be a god slayer, the ultimate power. I still think my boy Aizen did the merging thing better. Regardless, Hearts now has ascended past what anyone could imagine. He now possesses power so great he has no need for the Immortal Zamasu. He praised him for how useful his immortality is, but because he is a god, the Ascended Universal Hearts destroys him with ease. Even the Grand Priest took notice of this type of power. So what does it mean to be a god slayer? What makes their power so different and great compared to everyone else? Has Universal Seed's hearts actually achieved power great enough to destroy all the gods, even Zeno? Well, in this video, we're going to take a look at a few people that have destroyed a lot of the gods and where they fell short. Also, characters like Moro, who have abilities that can continuously grant them additional power as they reshape the universe. At some point, Moro might have to become a god slayer himself, especially if he sets his sights on Earth, which is Beerus' favorite food source. These characters all have one goal though. It isn't an evil one either. The root of their intentions is based on not being ruled by anyone, to reshape the multiverse to their liking. When many universes were threatened of being erased by Zeno, the theme of the tournament was, "The work of the gods ends here," which was echoed through that entire arc. If Heart showed up and saved everyone by destroying the gods, wouldn't he have been a hero? Wouldn't mortals actually be free? Guess perspective and timing is everything, which brings me to this video where I don't just want to look at the nigh infinite power needed to be a true god slayer, but also the morality of it, so let's get started. Think we should mention Merge Zamasu first, since he was technically a god slayer because they all stood in his way of realizing his zero mortal plan. Also, the fact of where Zamasu keeps failing in the end, since he was destroyed by Zeno and then Golden Hearts despite being immortal, which is always a hot topic for debate since immortal also means you are invulnerable in Dragon Ball. No matter how many times you are damaged or cut, you will never fall. You can't die. Unless you run into a power that is greater than that immortality, of course. A while back when Jiren was fighting Merge Zamasu, I asked if Jiren could actually destroy him despite his immortality. In that poll, 71% said yes, he could destroy him. There were a couple comments that said, well, if he was Hakai'd or destroyed, he would just become Universal Zamasu again. Which now in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, we see that all that is needed is power. Ultimate power that would reduce your immortality down to nothing. So we never got to see Jiren go all out and destroy an immortal being, but it was easy for this higher dimensional power, this ascended god slayer Hearts to accomplish. So it answered our question at least, you just need enough power. The missing factor in Zamasu's plans has always been power, constantly underestimating the power needed to realize his end goals. He was too focused on destroying the mortals for his justice and thinking the gods stood above them. He was smart about the assassination of the Kais to rid the future of all the gods except for the Grand Priest and Zeno, but he didn't have an end game for them. He should have planned for a way to attain ultimate power to sit at the throne of the heavens if he really felt that mortals were a mistake. You don't need a wish to grant you immortality, you just need power. Which brings us to an interesting new immortal villain currently in the manga by the name of Moro. Wait, is Moro really immortal? Maybe the millions of years that Moro has been alive gave him wisdom to not waste a wish from the Dragon Balls on something so simple as immortality. Moro has been able to exist because he knows how important power actually is. This is why Moro was locked away for 10 million years at the Galactic Prison. Even after his magic was sealed by the Grand Supreme Kai, they held a trial for Moro's crimes and all the planets he destroyed. Moro was sentenced to be executed, except no one had the power to actually kill him. It was impossible. The only choice was to sentence him for an eternity behind bars, and for 10 million years, Moro waited, till it was time to break free and restore his power back again to full. Moro is the literal definition of what it means to be immortal. He is on top of the food chain, if you will, which is why he is known as the Planet Eater Moro. A lot of similarities to Galactus, I know. He devours cosmic energy to fuel himself and even can bestow this great power on heralds as he sees fit, which makes Moro truly terrifying. I think in the manga we glossed over Moro's immortality and the true extent of his power. What Moro can accomplish because of his magic is truly amazing. Moro can stay youthful forever, as long as he has rich energy to feed on and can't be killed unless there is a power great enough to actually destroy this being that has collected the vast amount of energy throughout the universe. In a way, Moro is far more terrifying than Zamasu ever was because of this magic. Moro would be able to accomplish the same thing that we've seen in Super Dragon Ball Heroes with Hearts, destroying a helpless Zamasu with ultimate power. A merged Zamasu would pose no threat to Moro's power, and eventually when he has absorbed enough, he would be able to destroy even a being that has wished for immortality. Unmatched power always wins in any encounter. I told a story a while back on how Moro could become this God Slayer and overthrow the gods. It's a video called Moro Wins. It's the realization of Moro seeking out his end goals and reshaping the universe to his liking. If he is able to absorb enough power to ascend to a new level, then realistically no one can touch him or kill him. That is why we gotta keep someone like Broly away from this guy, and the only way to defeat him will be some approach to stop him from gaining this power before it's too late. If Moro absorbs the remaining best sources of energy in the universe and the divine world of the Kais, then he would be able to move on to other universes unopposed. Which brings me to this question, is Moro actually evil? Okay, we have seen him enjoy killing and he has ominous ideals for mortals, but is he really evil? Is it wrong for Moro to eat planets and balance the universe to his liking? Isn't he effectively just doing what Beerus does, but it's actually natural since it's his way of sustaining life? Honestly, Moro is just nature doing its thing in a way. He has even left people alive that are no threat to him. Maybe Moro isn't all that bad for the universe after all. Maybe he should just be a god of destruction somewhere to live out the rest of his life in a more governed way. Think about what I said before, it's all about perspective. If Moro became a god of destruction, we wouldn't even question him eating planets and it would be seen as balance. Now let's talk about an ultimate power that even made the Grand Priest notice. Heart's ultimate form, where he finally wields power great enough to destroy an immortal being easily. Right now, Hearts has ascended to a higher dimension in terms of power, making Zamasu's immortality worthless. It is crushed by even greater power. That is how it always works in terms of comics, anime, and most fiction. The Infinity Gauntlet makes the user a god with infinite power. You are nigh omnipotent, until a higher level being like the Living Tribunal renders its powers useless in his presence. Godslayer or Universal Seed Hearts, or whatever name you want to call him, is ascending to those types of heights, where all powers and life forms are just beneath his abilities and power, where he can shape anything to his liking, where you ascend past time and space itself. I am not going to get into a big 4th and 5th dimensional being discussion, as there are some good power scalers out there that go in depth of what that means to transcend time and ascend to these higher dimensions. How there are different levels of infinity and one character that has infinite power can be defeated by a higher dimensional being. That is a rabbit hole that is too long for this video, so we are taking the blue pill today so we can keep it simple. You very well could be immortal and even possess infinite power, however your immortality and power means nothing to someone that is on a higher dimension, which we see happen by Universal Seed Hearts, who easily disposes of Zamasu. He just wipes him out of reality. Zamasu's immortality is literally meaningless in front of this new power. Everyone in the recent episode 17 of Super Dragon Ball Heroes can't do anything versus Hearts, and these are the most powerful fighters across the universes. Fan service time though, and now we will see what Gogeta can do, and honestly, I expect him to get stomped. Gogeta is super crazy in terms of power, but has he ascended to where Hearts is currently? The power he now has is supposed to destroy Zeno and all the gods. This is some next level power, and Gogeta could be infinitely strong, but still no match for the type of power that made the Grand Priest notice. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the battle, but Gogeta shouldn't even be a match for Hearts, and we should hopefully see the Grand Priest have to step in to lend a hand. This is a battle that is just out of the league of mortals. Besides, who doesn't want to see the Grand Priest actually use some of his reality or time manipulation tactics in a higher dimensional battle against Golden Hearts? Of course, we don't know what direction Super Dragon Ball Heroes will go, and maybe they will somehow give Gogeta enough power to pull off the win, which doesn't make much sense. However, that is the video games for ya, and all I really wanted to talk about was what this ultimate power to become a God Slayer looks like, and if they are actually wrong. Remember, Hearts just wants to overthrow the gods, which seemed like a damn good idea during the Tournament of Power. Maybe his heart is in the right place. Hope everyone has had an amazing weekend, and tell me what you think of these super powerful villains we are starting to see across the different continuities of Dragon Ball. Are villains like Hearts and Moro actually evil? What type of power do you think will be needed to defeat these types of enemies? Will Goku and Vegeta have to learn to warp reality and time itself to even compete as the show goes on? I always love to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share it and smash that like button. Also, please subscribe to support the channel and turn on that notification bell to keep those theories coming.